Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Tuesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Excited because it's Tuesday. We've got your father, my father-in-law, going to be on the program for another Tuesdays with Charlie. It's a fun show.
It's the best part of the week.
Yeah, it's right up there. Okay, it's pretty darn good. We do have that coming up later in the program, and I've got a quote for you. It says, "We will be soldiers, so our sons may be farmers, so their sons may be artists." Thomas Jefferson.
Alrighty.
That's our quote for this Tuesday. Coming up here in a bit, we've got a lot of other fun stuff to get to, and I'm going to try to untie my tongue and see if we can make it through. Hopefully we can. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Tuesday.
John and Heidi.
Many people make New Year's resolutions this month. If you're making a resolution to kick some sort of addiction to the curb, I'm proud of you. It's not easy, but you can do this. Think of how great 2018 can be without the addiction monkey on your back. You can do this, and the Addiction Hope and Helpline wants to help. If you or someone you know needs help kicking a drinking problem or a drug addiction problem, there's a toll-free number to call, 800-438-0380. That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline, 1-800-438-0380. Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It is Tuesday, the 16th day of January. It is Appreciated Dragon Day.
Okay.
Why? Why are we appreciating dragons? I think it's funny, Appreciated Dragon Day. I know two British guys that have dragon tattoos. Mm-hmm. So I don't know many British guys, but I know two British guys. They both have dragon tattoos. Mm-hmm. The one is kind of a masculine dragon. The other one is not so masculine. Kind of looks like Puff the Magic Dragon. And he wanted me to get a matching tattoo with him. I was like, yeah, thanks, but no thanks. It's also National Nothing Day today. So for those of you who have nothing going on today, well, it's your day. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Tuesday. Jewelry. It's a great way to say, I love you. Valentine's Day is next month already. Don't wait until the last day, then rush into getting something that'll get you by for another year. Make this the year that you plan ahead and get something amazing. I know, you're on a budget. That's cool. We have a friend in the jewelry business. He's already lower than any other jeweler I've found, and he's letting us do a special this month to save you even more. I have the details and a link to his store at radiosavings.com. Get her the jewelry she deserves at a price you can afford. Check it out at radiosavings.com. Coming up, we've got your brain on drugs. Before we get to that, I got a story here that it's not really brain on drugs, but it has to do with drugs. It said, weed smokers have strong restaurant preferences.
Okay. So
if you know somebody that's, stoned all the time, apparently they really, really have a hankering for McDonald's, according to this story. Legalized pot markets, 43.4% of marijuana users go to McDonald's when the munchies hit, according to a report from Green Market Report.
I don't know if it's necessarily because that's what they crave. It's because that's what's on every street corner. It's open 24 hours a day.
Well,
so
McDonald's
it's
is a symbol of American wholesomeness, preferred by users over punchline for stoner jokes, Taco Bell. Only 18.3% of legal weed buyers end up there. Again, 43.4% end up at the Golden Arches. Let's finish out the top five here. Wendy's gets 17.8%, Burger King 17.6%, and Subway 8.7%. So there you go. I've got a link to the entire list. So for the stoners that are listening that want to know where you need to go, according, if you want to be with the flow, I've got a link to that on our Facebook page.
John and Heidi.
Each day at this time, we talk about people doing dumb things under the influence, but addiction is no laughing matter. If you or someone you know needs help, there's a toll-free number you can call.
1-800-438-0380.
That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline.
1-800-438-0380.
And this is your brain on drugs. An American tourist was arrested by authorities in Thailand after he strolled around an airport's departure hall with no clothing on.
Oh, nice.
While screaming and throwing feces.
Oh.
And you thought you had a bad experience at the airport. He was eventually restrained by 6 security officers. He was taken to a nearby hospital for routine medical checks and psychiatric assessment. Later, they discovered he had overdosed on drugs, several drugs, including Viagra was one of the things he had overdosed on. He was in Thailand, apparently, having a good time.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, boy. It was an American tourist, just making us proud.
Yeah, represent.
Kids, just don't do stuff like that. That's what happens when your brain is on drugs.
John and Heidi.
Now, big screen, little screen. CBS News announced that John Dickerson is going to replace Charlie Rose. He got in trouble for, sexually harassing people. So
Who hasn't?
Well, Mr. Dickerson hasn't. So it's just kind of a not so fortunate last name for him. With everything else that's going on.
With everything else,
I'm just saying. I don't know the guy. He's probably a good fella. Leonardo DiCaprio, reportedly is dating a 20-year-old model.
So, good for him.
How old is he? He's got to be in his 40s.
Gotta be in his 40s.
Yeah, 30-something, 40-something. I don't know. Harvey Weinstein's accusers say they were not invited to the Golden Globes last week because they say victims are not attractive. I think the reason they weren't invited is because they didn't have enough room. I mean, there's a lot of them. Where are they all set? Okay, I'm going to move on.
Yeah.
This has been your big screen, little screen. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Make 2018 the year for your business. Use radio to get more people to know your business. Radio is a powerful tool. Over 90% of us listen to the radio every week. You are right now. Imagine if this ad was talking about your business. Could that help you hit those goals you set for 2018? We can help. We can also create a fun jingle, too, to get people singing your song. When you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable, and that makes radio work even better. Learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Now, your scoop of the day. Kanye West is modeling in a new campaign for Helmet Lang. What is Helmet Lang? Have you ever heard of that?
No idea.
Is he modeling helmets? Is that what that?
I have no clue.
I don't know what that is. Let's just move on. Dunkin' Donuts announced that they are going to stop selling their big and toasty breakfast sandwich. I've never had one, but
Me
it
either.
sounds good, doesn't it? Now I want one, and they're going to quit selling them. Maybe there should have been a story that they sell such a thing.
As long as they don't stop selling their coffee, everybody's going to be fine.
And that's the thing. They're called Dunkin' Donuts, but I think they are probably more well-known for their coffee.
Yeah, everybody loves that coffee.
It's darn good coffee. And a study by the University of Wales, W-A-L-E-S, not the whales that swim in the ocean. Just want to make sure, because they have schools of fish. I want to make sure. University of Wales found that making healthy New Year's resolutions lowers your risk of cancer. Hey, I've got a little addendum to that. Keeping your New Year's resolution. They say making the everybody
makes
can make
a resolution.
It's keeping the resolution that really helps. So, but that's cool. Healthy resolutions equal lower risk of cancer. So I think we should all make those. A group of wild turkeys have been attacking mailmen and other delivery people, disrupting deliveries in a small town outside of Cleveland. That's not something that you would typically think of, but apparently a gang of wild turkeys.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. When they say a gang of wild turkeys, you think it's really turkeys or it's a gang that's called the Wild Turkey Gang?
I think it's probably really turkeys.
I would hope so. Either that or just a gang that drinks wild turkey and they like to mess with the mailman. A water main broke at New York's JFK airport, caused major delays that led to a near riot. So that was a big old problem last week. India's highest court is going to revisit a 16th century ban on homosexual sex. So that's in India. They have a ban, a government ban on that, and they're saying, we're going to revisit that and see. It's been hanging out since the 16th century. We're going to take another look.
I wonder what punishment is for violating that ban.
How do they know? I have no clue. A Canadian museum is opening an exhibit in honor of Justin Bieber. So the Beeb is going to get his own museum exhibit. What would you find in a museum exhibit for Justin Bieber, I wonder?
I don't know. I've never paid much attention to him, honestly, so I have no idea.
I watched I had another person tell me I had to see this. He goes, if you haven't seen it, you got to watch it. So I watched the documentary, whatever it was called. Remember that? And I made my daughter, at the time, she was like 11. I made her come with me, even though she didn't want to watch it. I made her come with when I rented it because I didn't want them thinking I was some weirdo. So it's like, oh, hey, we're going to get this Bieber thing. She goes, I don't want to watch it. I'm like, shut up. Pretend like you want to watch it. But it was cool because he sold out Madison Square Garden like faster than the Beatles did. And it took them like 2 hours. It took him like 2 minutes. So, and this guy was saying, if you haven't seen this, you got to see it. And then I watched it. The whole time I was watching, I was like, why did I have to see this? Is your boss busting your chops for using your computer to catch adorable animal antics on the internet? Well, tell him to back off. A recent study reveals that viewing videos of puppies and kittens on the clock makes you better at your job.
And I would disagree with
Well,
this.
a recent series of experiments conducted at the Hiroshima University of Japan, researchers found people who looked at pictures of sweet and cute little critters outperformed those who don't.
Okay, not if they were looking at them all day long instead of doing their work.
But it's time for a puppy break every once in a while.
Right.
Cute animals not only make us happier, but they also affect our behavior, the researchers write. They say this study shows that viewing cut things...
Cute
What?
things.
I bet
Doing
that's,
cute
I was going to
things.
say, that's a whole different study. They just missed an E. Viewing cute things improves subsequent performances in tasks that require behavioral carefulness, possibly by narrowing the breadth of attention focus. But make sure that those beasts you're gazing at are young'uns, because the study showed if you're watching when they're babies, like little puppies or little kittens, you outperform people watching videos of older kittens, like old cats and old dogs. So I don't know how it works, but there's some magic in those there videos. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Tuesdays with Charlie is on the way.
John and Heidi.
Last year, we went to 80s in the Sand in Punta Cana, and it was the best week ever. You should join us this year for amazing music from Bret Michaels, Taylor Dane, ABC, John Waite, Sebastian Bach, English Beat, The Romantics, Honeymoon Suite, John Parr, and more. Plus, back by popular request, Jody Watley, Berlin, and When in Rome, UK. Most of us who went last year are going to come back, so the rooms are filling fast. Get your tickets and join us at 80s in the Sand, November 3rd through the 10th, 2018. See photos of our great memories and learn about payment plans at radiosavings.com. And it's time right now for my favorite program, something we do every Tuesday just because we can. We pick up the phone and we call my father-in-law for a little program we like to call
Tuesdays with Charlie.
Tuesdays with Charlie on the John and Heidi Show.
So what kind of cool stuff we can learn about today, Charlie?
Contrary to what most people believe, you know Adam Sandler
Yeah?
Yeah.
and Chris Farley?
Yeah.
They did not leave Saturday Night Live. They were fired.
Were they really?
What?
I wonder why. They were both pretty darn good.
Yeah, they were. Well, anyway, they got fired.
Does it say why?
Nope.
I can't imagine that. That's a huge mistake on their part.
Break room shenanigans, probably.
On thin staff since last week, you know, I fired a bunch of them.
Yeah? Oh, yeah. You thinned the herd, too, didn't you?
Hey, then, on Friday the 13th, America loses $900 million due to decline of productivity.
People are superstitious to do anything, aren't they?
They don't work too much on Friday the 13th.
That's Heidi's favorite day, by
It
the
is.
way.
It's always a very, very good day for me.
It's her quote-unquote lucky day.
It is. I've never had a bad Friday the 13th.
I don't think you've ever had a good one either, though. I don't know how that's a lucky day. I just don't get it, but whatever.
Then you remember the old chickens with the glasses.
Yeah, chickens with the red glasses, yeah.
Okay, chickens with white earlobes lay white eggs, and chickens with red earlobes lay brown eggs.
I've heard this before. I think you told us that.
Well, probably because I tell you a lot of stuff.
And then you forget most of it.
Well, I'll forget this in 10 minutes.
But we have it while we have it, at least.
Yeah, we can run the same thing next week. Nobody will know.
If you ever get busy, we'll just replay last week and nobody would even notice.
There you go, over and over again.
Tuesdays with Charlie. It's so good every week. It's like the same stuff.
And then, you know, Ernie, that was on Sesame Street?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bert's buddy?
Okay, in 1970, Ernie reached number 16 on the Billboard Hot Chart 100 with the
Rubber Ducky?
Rubber Ducky.
Yeah. I loved that song. I didn't know it was on the charts.
I didn't either.
Number 16.
It's pretty impressive.
Absolutely.
And you people in the radio business, better pay attention.
Absolutely do.
Hey, last year, U.S. Airlines collected $3.35 billion in baggage fees.
I'm sure they
man.
did. You used to get one bag for free. They
No,
don't
you
do
don't.
that anymore.
No.
Can't even hardly get on a plane for free anymore.
I know.
You can't.
Well-
get on a plane.
No, you can't get on a plane for free.
When could you ever do that? You have a ticket? No, I want it for free.
You dumb.
You're the one that said it.
I tell you, next year I'm firing my whole staff. They don't come up with nothing anymore.
Is that all you have today, Charlie?
No, I got two more.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Abraham Lincoln's son was once saved from a nasty railroad accident by John Wilkes Booth's brother.
Yeah, Edwin.
Really?
Yeah, his brother Edwin. He saved Abe Lincoln's son, and then his brother killed Abe Lincoln. How crazy is that?
Yeah.
I did not know
That's
that.
gratitude for you.
I did know that.
Huh.
Because I think I told you that once before, and you always remember.
I do remember stuff. And Charlie, I know things. Heidi doesn't know things.
I know things.
Nah, you don't know things. I know things.
I know everything my father taught me.
She don't know nothing, trust me.
She speaks the truth then.
Hey, I got one last thing here for you then.
All right, what's that?
We'll talk about bad luck. In 1957, Phillies center fielder Richie Ashburn fouled off a pitch and broke a fan's nose.
Oh, no.
And then on the next pitch, he falls off the next pitch and hit the same fan.
Did they not move after the first one?
That's hilarious.
I think somebody was drinking too much beer.
Got a home run, knocked it over the back wall fence, and hit the guy on the stretcher getting
my
into the
God.
ambulance. Oh, that's
I bet you
crazy.
they remember that guy's name for the rest of their lives.
Oh, my
Right.
gosh.
Is his name in the story?
Richie Auburn.
Okay, well, I'll have to remember that name.
Oh, that's funny.
Don't watch baseball. You wouldn't know him
I
from
know.
a football player.
I don't know. He's the best hockey player I know. So I don't know. I don't know any of that. We'll talk to you next week, Charlie.
Bye, Daddy.
Bye, Fluff. Bye, John.
Bye-bye. My father-in-law right there. We talk to him every Tuesday just because we can. It's a little program we like to call
Tuesdays with Charlie.
John and Heidi.
Many people make New Year's resolutions this month. If you're making a resolution to kick some sort of addiction to the curb, I'm proud of you. It's not easy, but you can do this. Think of how great 2018 can be without the addiction monkey on your back. You can do this, and the Addiction Hope and Helpline wants to help. If you or someone you know needs help kicking a drinking problem or a drug addiction problem, there's a toll-free number to call, 800-438-0380. That's the Addiction Hope and Helpline, 1-800-438-0380.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
There are no bridges over the Amazon River. At
Really?
all. Not a single one.
Huh.
Now, I kind of want to go build a bridge over the Amazon. Don't you?
Huh.
What would you call that bridge? Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The process by which bread toasts is called Maillard reaction.
Really?
So if you ever put bread in a toaster and you push the little button down, you're waiting for a Maillard reaction to happen.
Really?
Yeah. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Snails have 14,000 teeth, and some can even kill you.
What?
Yeah, so you better be careful. Don't pick on those snails. I never would have thought
It would have
of
to
it.
catch you first.
It's like, gonna get
Probably why
you.
you don't hear many
Snail
death
attacks.
by snail.
Yeah, they're just not fast enough. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
Admiral Akbar from the Star Wars Episode 4, Return of the Jedi, was not a man in a suit. It was actually a giant puppet.
Really?
Yeah, now you know. A couple of fun facts, courtesy of RadioSavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Last year, we went to 80s in the Sand in Punta Cana, and it was the best week ever. You should join us this year for amazing music from Bret Michaels, Taylor Dane, ABC, John Waite, Sebastian Bach, English Beat, The Romantics, Honeymoon Suite, John Parr, and more. Plus, backed by popular request, Jody Watley, Berlin, and When in Rome, UK. Most of us who went last year are going to come back, so the rooms are filling fast. Get your tickets and join us at 80s in the Sand, November 3rd through the 10th, 2018. See photos of our great memories and learn about payment plans at RadioSavings.com. Time now for the grandiloquent word of the day, and this fabulous word today is cherry. Not C-H-E-R-R-Y, but C-H-A-R-Y. Cherry. It's an adjective. Cautiously or suspiciously reluctant to do something. Cautious or careful or weary. So if you're, not wanting to do it because you think that it's a bad idea, you are very cherry.
I
watched
never heard that word
a video
before.
of a guy who was getting a tattoo, and it was too painful for him. He was very cherry, and he was very rude to the guy that was giving him the tattoo. It was I was watching that just going, if I was the guy doing the tattoo, I would feel bad. Because he kept saying,
I
no,
wouldn't have finished it.
Your
I would've
hands are
told him to
dirty.
get out.
Get away from me. You're dirty. And he's like, no, don't. You're disgusting.
Yeah,
and he's
I
trying to
would've
give this
said,
kid a
"Get
tattoo.
out of my
it was,
chair."
I don't know if it was a setup, because I was like, is there really somebody out there that insensitive? And
Oh,
that,
yes. There are people out there like that.
it was bad. Anyway, our grandiloquent word of the day, cherry.
John and Heidi.
jewelry. It's a great way to say I love you. Valentine's Day is next month already. Don't wait until the last day, then rush into getting something that'll get you by for another year. Make this the year that you plan ahead and get something amazing. I know, you're on a budget. That's cool. We have a friend in the jewelry business. He's already lower than any other jeweler I've found, and he's letting us do a special this month to save you even more. I have the details and a link to his store at radiosavings.com. Get her the jewelry she deserves at a price you can afford. Check it out at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Now, some weird news on a Tuesday. Business owner identified as Mr. Zhang drove 500 miles to beat up a woman who had written a bad review about his business.
Whoa!
Yeah, the victim claims that Zhang messaged her and said he'd traveled all night from Suzhou,
My gosh.
more than 500 miles, so he could, quote, teach her a lesson. When he got there, security cameras show him viciously punch and kick the woman, leaving her in a heap on the ground. The victim, Zai Lai, has complained that a delivery she ordered was 4 days late. The woman was taken to the hospital where she was treated for minor injuries, including concussion. No word if there was a warrant for his arrest or if there were any arrests made.
I would sure hope so.
I just got to say, you were trying to get away with, hey, I don't want bad reviews. So you put a bad review out there, and now I'm going to come beat you up.
Oh, my God.
What do you think this is going to do for you, Mr. Zhang? When people talk about this, what are you going to do, go around and beat up everybody?
Yeah.
There's somebody at our door. I better go see who that is. Oh, it's Mr. Zhang.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. Juan Mendoza tried to run from the cops on his ATV. Good plan, right? No, not a good plan. I mean, there's nothing about that plan.
First of all, it's never a good plan to run from the cops.
No,
Cops are
well,
after you, just stop.
Here's why they were even after him. It says here, the officers attempted to stop him for riding his ATV on the road without proper safety gear. So they said pull over.
Which would have been a minor infraction.
Yeah, this is nothing. They would have probably even just given a warning.
Right.
Anyway, he refused to pull over. Since he was on an ATV, I thought, hey, I'm going to take off. And he cruised into the ditch. When he did, he took it off-road, but he hurt his pride and much, much more. He flipped it and got stuck, lost control, wrecked it big time. Anyway, they treated him at the scene, and they cited him for riding an ATV on a public road without proper safety gear. So there you go. Kids, don't do that. I mean, have you seen these? I see a lot of these nowadays. Kids riding ATVs on the roads.
I would never let my kids.
Yeah, just be really careful out there because when you're on the road on an ATV and there's big vehicles all around you, if there's an accident, who do you think is going to be the victim?
Those things flip over all the time.
Well,
Doesn't matter if you're on a regular road or if you're on.
Just be cautious and be careful out there. This has been your moment of duh.
John and Heidi.
Make 2018 the year for your business. Use radio to get more people to know your business. Radio is a powerful tool. Over 90% of us listen to the radio every week. You are right now. Imagine if this ad was talking about your business. Could that help you hit those goals you set for 2018? We can help. We can also create a fun jingle, too, to get people singing your song. When you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable, and that makes radio work even better. Learn more at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Coming up, we've got some good news to get to, and this is an interesting thing. I would have never known this because the media would never have told us this, but a Rasmussen poll says our current president's approval rating is 46%, which is exactly the same as President Clinton's approval rating at this exact same point in his presidency.
Wow.
But they're trying to make it sound like he's the most unpopular president in the history of the world, if you watch the news.
Yeah, and the news always made Clinton sound like he was so extremely popular.
I just think it's interesting. Have you heard anything even close to that?
No.
In the news? That's a Rasmussen poll, and those guys do this stuff for a living. So it's not like it was from, some made-up thing just to make somebody look good.
I know. I like the president a lot.
And there are people who do and there are people who don't. I'm going to keep my opinion to myself because this is not a program to talk about politics. So I'm going to move on now. You're listening to the John and Heidi Show. Good news is on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always like to wrap things up around here with good news, and I think this is just a beautiful story. As a matter of fact, it got me choked up when I watched the video. My beautiful bride Heidi over here shared this with me. Former homeless 8-year-old is given his own bed.
Oh, yeah.
And his reaction is priceless. All this little 8-year-old boy wanted. He's a boy from Detroit. He had been homeless. He and his family had. They got a home this last year, but it was pretty sparse. They had some blankets. They had, some things, but not much. All he wanted for Christmas was a bed of his own, and a local charity got involved, and because of that, they said, hey, we want to make sure he gets that. And it was more than just his bed. Did you see that home when it was done?
Oh, yeah, it was beautiful.
What a cool thing, because they put in, and it wasn't like brand new, fancy furniture, but it was nice. It was good furniture. It was not bad stuff, and when you got nothing, you're pretty happy to have something. And just to see how happy this boy is, there's a video on the page.
It was so sweet.
And it choked me up because here's the thing I got to thinking. I don't think I have ever appreciated, seriously, I don't think I've ever appreciated anything that much. Mm-hmm. Because from the time I was born until now, I've always had a bed. I've never ever had to think about, where am I going to sleep tonight?
Right.
When I walk into my home, even though it's not necessarily the nicest furniture, I think it's decent. We've got stuff. There are things. Right. There's a place to sit if you want to sit. We have a table. We could sit and eat. These were things that they didn't have.
Right.
So now they have a table, and they've got a place to sit, and he's got a bed, and it was just awesome to see the reaction that this young man has and how thankful he was. And there's a link to the video and everything on our Facebook page. So if you need a little boost of happiness, we always try to put good news on there for that very reason. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Our Facebook page, if you want to see this video and other fun stuff, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show.